Hey, what's up, everyone? Today I'm going to be doing a video which is going to be the first in a series that I'm interested in doing, and it's going to be me talking about where builds are in Smite now. At the end of Season 3, this is the fall split is happening for the PC Pro League. We are now in week 3 of the Pro League, so we're starting to get a look at some builds, see how players are doing it. Also, ranked and casual play, you're getting some information from those as well as far as builds. So I'm going to start with Guardian builds. Now, as I said, this is going to be hopefully a 5-part series. Each video that I'm going to make is going to just talk about an overview of where builds are, just, items to keep in mind. Of course, not every build is going to be the same, but just items to, there may be some that I say that you should have in every build, there may be some that are situational. It all just depends. So we're going to start with our builds. We have Fafnir here. I'm actually going to clear the build I already have and just go over each item and why I think that it's a good item to use and which situations it's best for. So for every support, we're going to get right into it. For every support for a starting item, you're going to want to go into Watcher's Gift. Now, Mark of the Vanguard got buffed and then I believe got nerfed. So it's not as strong as it was, but it can be used. Still, it's I don't think it should be used, but you can incorporate it into your build. We'll get into that, but it's not actually a good starter item. Every support should start with Watcher's Gift. That's something to keep in mind. Every build, if you're playing Guardian and Conquest, of course, Arena, you don't really need to start item. Assault, those other game modes, you have to kind of do other things. But in Conquest, always start with Watcher's Gift. It'll get you that extra gold. So that's good. For the second item, I think it's always good to go for the tier 1 of your boots. I don't see any other build right now you can kind of rush an item in support. I really don't think that it's necessary. There are no items that are super important that you need to rush it. It also will allow you to buy as much potions as you need. As far as potions go, I actually do, most people do 4 mana, 4 health, or 4 health, whatever position you like it in. I actually like to go 5 mana and 3 health because I do like to stay in lane as long as I can. I tend to waste my abilities sometimes. I tend to use my abilities quite a bit, especially that early game when I'm trying to get like an early kill from my ADC. Start with 5 mana and then go into 3 health pots. Now it depends. If you want to go 4 mana, 4 health, that's good. That's what most people do actually. What you can also do if you're playing like Terra or Sylvanas, or like Guan Yu support, you can go 5 mana and 2 wards. That's up to you though, because they have healing. They don't really need the health as much. It's really your choice how you like to do pots. So we'll do 5 mana, 3 health. Now getting into the build, we're gonna go right into our boots. There are really two main pairs of boots that you're gonna want to look at, in my opinion. The number one is Traveler Shoes. Now, Traveler Shoes, the reason it's good is because you get the extra gold off of it every time you hit an enemy, um, and you get the HP 5, and you get extra movement speed. So, and that's when you're out of combat. So this is also cheaper. You can get this item a lot quicker. I would also note that you don't get any mana, you don't get any health. You just get the power and the movement speed, so it has less stats on it, but the passive is great. Now, if you're falling, let's say you get killed early, you get to lane before you base for the first time, and you get killed, you might want to go into reinforced shoes. That's the second pair of boots I would recommend. There are a lot of supports out there who are going boots of Magi boots, which is a more aggressive build. I actually don't think this build is great. It's kind of risky in my opinion. You do get that extra bit of power early game, which is really, if you think about it as support, that's where you want the power in the laning phase, because then you can get that kill if you have a high damaging ultimate like a Bacchus ult, a Kumba ult, that's that kind of thing. You can use the penetration boots to kind of secure that build if you need to, but I would rather go with Traveler Shoes. Um, So that's what we're going to do. The next item is almost always going to be, in my opinion, it should be Height of the Urchin. There's no other item that will beat the tankiness you get from this item early, because the stacks, you get a stack for um, every god kill and assist, and that might take a good 15-20 minutes before that happens. So you really want to get this item third. You want to get as early as possible. It gives you too many stats. So there's no other item that has is packed with this amount of stats that Height of the Urchin has. So you really want to go this third. I don't believe that you should do anything else, in my opinion. You can maybe switch it up, but I don't think you need to. After that, and I should mention actually as we go forward, this build has kind of been the way it has been for a while. Um, the only real difference in the early build that I've seen is this. If you take out Height of the Urchin, some people what they do is they go Watcher's Gift, then they go into the boots, and then we go into Mark of the Vanguard. I've been seeing this quite a bit because the stats are great for the price. If you look at it, it's 800 gold. Height of the Urchin is 2400 gold. So right away, you're spending what, 4 times as much gold. So yeah, it makes sense to get this just because you're spending a quarter of the gold and you're getting 150 health, 10 physical protections, and that awesome passive. So and it's also a good early game item. So you're using kind of a out of the ordinary start, but some people do this. I don't really do this build that much. I don't really like it. I say go right into Height of the Urchin. Don't waste any money on Mark of the Vanguard. I don't see a huge impact of buying it third. So go into Height of the Urchin. That's my opinion. Next, you're going to probably want to go into Sovereignty. In fact, you're almost certainly going to want to go into this. The main reason is once you start pushing those towers, once you start attacking those towers, Sovereignty will get you protections from the towers. It'll get you protection from the Gold Fury, Fire Giant, Phoenix protections. All objectives deal physical damage, so having Sovereignty is huge. Now, if you're worried about, let's say you're facing a magical ADC and you're worried about the magical damage, still buy Sovereignty because of the objectives. You really should not be getting Heartward Amulet this early. You really want to be worried about more of those late game team fights when you're getting Heartward Amulet. So you can go Heartward. So this is the 4th item, 5th item. You can go Heartward Amulet, and it's around this time that I start to look for selling Watcher's Gift. You can keep Watcher's Gift until your last item if you would like. It's up to you, but I do think that it kind of doesn't work as much. You are always constantly getting that extra gold by just being in the area because of the passive. But I think that if you really want to get Heartward online, you can sell Watcher's Gift. Now after that, the last 2 items can switch a lot depending on what type of sport you're playing, how you're doing in the game, what kind of protections you need, if you need more health. It really depends. The most popular thing that I'm seeing right now, and one of the items is actually very recent in the last couple weeks, is to go and you can switch the position of these 2 items I'm about to talk about. The first one is Spirit Robe. This is usually what I do right after, because if you look at these items, you're getting good amount of protections on that, and health and mana. You're getting health and protections on that, health and protections on this, and then so you have a good amount of health already with these items. Now you can go into straight protections and the damage mitigation passive on Spirit Robe. This will really just give you the next piece. It's like the next piece of the puzzle as far as your build goes, and the passive is great for late game. So that's what you could do. The second item that you can start thinking about using is actually going to be something that's new, and that's Magi's Blessing. People are, I don't think there's any real reason. I think people maybe have overlooked the health. You get 350 health in this item, that's a great amount. The physical and magical protections aren't that much, but the passive is great. You get a free beads, basically, with this passive, and I've seen a lot of people build this. You can switch these 2 items depending on what your preference is. It's really up to you. But this is pretty much the main build. I would put this on almost all of your supports with some variances. Fafnir, for instance, you could build Void Shield or some more kind of damagey items if you'd like. The other item that you can do instead of Magi's Blessing to finish it out would be to go into Mantle of Discord. I think this item is a little too expensive, so I never really pick it up, but it is a very strong item. Gives you also some cooldown reduction. You'll notice the only cooldown you get is at the end of this build, so if you want more cooldown, you could go Boots of Focus. I wouldn't recommend that, but you can. Breastplate of Valor, unfortunately, it does give you a good amount of cooldown, mana, and protections, but you're losing a lot of health early game if you go that instead of this starting 5 items. You get the health from Watcher's Gifts, health on that item, health on Sovereignty, health on Heartward. You really, if you don't build health early, you're going to notice and you're going to probably suffer and die a little bit more often. So I don't think Breastplate is actually the best choice for you. Cooldown reduction is not completely necessary on support. In fact, it's probably the role in Smite that needs CDR the least, in my opinion. So that's it. That's a pretty good overview as far as relics. More often than not, you're going to want to go meditation. It depends on who you're facing. If you're facing a support that doesn't have crazy CC that's noticeably annoying, so ones that you would want to buy beads against would be probably Ares, Emir, maybe Athena. That's probably it. Maybe Bacchus, but I wouldn't even buy beads for Bacchus. I would say Ares and who did I just say? Ares and Emir. I would buy beads for those two matchups. Other than that, meditation first item is good. You could buy sprint, but I do think meditation is better for that laning phase. And that's pretty much what most supports are doing right now. That's for the first relic. The second relic, you can. It depends. So I can't really say what you should do for your second relic. Um, I think Curse is good, Shell is strong, and Sprint. That's good. If you need beads, if you need Aegis, if you feel like you need those, go ahead and buy it, but I would recommend Shell or Curse or Sprint. Maybe Frenzy. So that's it for Relics. And really that's all I have to say. Some variances I guess that we can go over at the end of this conversation. Again, we'll go through Guardians and talk about we'll make note of some guardians that might have some interesting variances. Ares, you're going to want to build some more aura items on Ares because of that passive. So Voidstone, keeping with Sovereignty, keeping with Heartward, maybe Mystical Mail at the end, but Mystical Mail isn't great. So that's something to keep note of on Ares. Athena, use that build, the one I just showed you, it's great on Athena. Bacchus, I would stick with the build I showed you. Cabrakan, maybe Voidstone, maybe Soul Reaver if you really want to use him. He's not very good though. Fafnir, I would definitely put Voidstone on Fafnir. Definitely put Traveler Shoes in Watcher's Gift. Always get Traveler Shoes on Fafnir, in my opinion. Geb, pretty much the same build. Khepri, same. Kumba, some people like to go Soul Reaver on Kumba late game. I don't think you need it. Go with the same build that I just showed you. Sobek, maybe Gem of ISO if you want that extra slow, but you don't really need that because he is a little bit more aggressive. Sylvanas and Terra, I think you could look into Lotus Crown. But you lose so much defense when you build that item. It's actually really bad because Sylvanas in particular doesn't really have an escape. At least Terra has a dash to get out of fights. Sylvanas is so slow and needs the defense desperately. If you build Lotus Crown on him, it's going to be really bad. So if you are going to build that item on him because you want the protections and maybe some extra magical power, build it later in the build once you start getting pretty tanky. If you build it early, you're probably going to get killed a lot. Terra, you can be a little bit more safe with Lotus Crown because she can escape, so that she's a little bit better with that. Xingqian Emir, same thing. Just build the same build I just showed you, and that's pretty much how it is for Guardians. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you have any other builds that you're interested in, definitely let me know. Again, this is mainly for Conquest, and a lot of this is based off what pros and ranked players are using. Also, what I usually use for most of my supports. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Again, I'll have some other videos, some installments later on. So I thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.